Hello, I'm Will Schademann,
I'm Jake Peterson.
and we will be discussing the Super Bowl preview of 2015.
Yeah, the Patriots and the Seahawks are taking each other on. Patriots coming off of a huge win over the Colts, 45-7, and then you have the Seahawks who, with a rally, to go on by the Green Bay Packers and beat them at home.
Yeah, that Green Bay Seattle game was quite amazing, Jake. Like down like 14 is 5 minutes left, and they pulled it off to come back and tie in overtime, and then they won in overtime by a 35-yard pass from Russell Wilson to Curse, the wide receiver, which was an unbelievable play. And back to Jake with the Indianapolis New England game.
Yeah, the Patriots just downright dominated that game. They just did everything right. Colts did everything wrong. Andrew Luck didn't have a great game. And frankly, Tom Brady, iffy, but he still got the job done. He didn't really need to do a whole lot in that game. The Patriots just needed to run the ball with LeGarrette Blount some. And, I thought the Patriots defense in particular had a big night, of course. And Vince Wilfork, of course, with that heroic story after the game. It just kind of completed a perfect into the, the AFC, if you will, for Patriots fans.
I definitely agree, Jake. Just like what Jake mentioned earlier, Andrew Luck had no offense to be able to do against the tough Patriots defense, starting Vince Wilfork, just like you mentioned earlier as well. And LeGarrette Blount had one heck of a game. Mm-hmm. He ran for, it seemed like 9 yards of carry. It seemed like every time he touched the ball. And Tom Brady did what Tom Brady does best, which is complete passes and score touchdowns. And that was pretty evident in a 45-7 drilling of the Indianapolis Colts, who, in my opinion, kind of got lucky that they were there, and Peyton Manning was injured in the AFC divisional game. And as far as going back to the Seattle game, Russell Wilson, pretty much, even though he had a terrible game, carried them in that overtime session, and in the fourth quarter, he was amazing, completing those passes and those tough passes. Might I remind you, and the Packers, I believe that they just blew it. They just blew it. They were up like 14 to 5 minutes to go, and they just gave it to Seattle, which was a shame. I thought that they would have finished it, and I even turned the channel because I thought the game was over, but then I saw that it was an overtime. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. And then, and that's all I have for that.
Yeah, I felt like the Seahawks, they kind of beat themselves up in this game offensively. Russell Wilson had a very uncharacteristic game, turning the ball over 4 times, which is just out of the ordinary for him because he's just such a smart football player. He's not a great quarterback, but he doesn't have to be. He's just so smart, and that's the key to be a successful quarterback in the NFL is you have to be smart. You can't turn the ball over. He doesn't do that, but he did it in that game, and they still managed to win. I thought Aaron Rodgers' calf injury really affected that game, and the Seahawks defense once again just coming up big when they needed to, and Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas in particular really stepped up, of course, and it just eventually led to a misunderstood, I guess. Just a speechless comeback from the Seahawks. It will be interesting to see how the Seahawks can respond in the Super Bowl game. Richard Sherman obviously sprained elbow and dislocated shoulder for Earl Thomas. 2 very key players on defense. They said they are going to play though, but it's something to keep an eye on especially against a explosive, similar offense from the Patriots as you saw from the Packers.
I definitely agree, Jake. Yeah, I believe the Packers I think they just stopped playing. Mm-hmm. I think they said, all right, well, we have this in the bag, and it's over. But the tough Seattle defense, led by Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman, just like as you mentioned earlier, came up and stepped up for the Seattle crew. And earlier in the game, they had a pretty much needed touchdown from a pass from their punter with a fake field goal to offensive lineman. So 19 yards, that's pretty odd to see an offensive lineman score a touchdown, especially in the NFL. And as far as the New England game goes, Bill Belichick had his boys ready to go, and simply Chuck Pagano did not.
Yeah.
That's pretty much in the story right there.
Yeah, I thought weather played a key role in the Seahawks-Packers game.
And in both games as well, because
Yeah, I mean there was definitely some weather issues, of course, in the Patriots game, but especially the Seahawks game, I felt like that also affected the game a little bit. May have explained the 4 turnovers from Russell Wilson, but then again, though, he plays in Seattle a lot, so he should be able to handle that. It is something to definitely be concerned about if you're Pete Carroll heading into the Super Bowl. However, I do think this is a Super Bowl that's going to be a very good game. I think you have really valid arguments on both sides. I think with Aaron Rodgers injured like he was, I don't think the Seahawks played against the best offense in the country, or in the league, excuse me, at that point. I think now they're getting ready to play the best offense in the league, and that's the Patriots. I think Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, you just have so many guys on that offense that they can go to. And keep in mind, Bill Belichick, his teams just don't make a lot of mistakes. So that's something the Seahawks are going to have to realize and start to play within themselves and don't panic. And that'll be a big key in that game.
And now we will be discussing the predictions for the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots game. Jake, who do you got?
I got the Patriots. I think the Patriots have more momentum. I think they won more impressively. They were coming off, a rather not quite as hard of a fought game as the Seahawks have gone through in the NFC. So yeah, I got the Patriots, and I think the Patriots win it handily. I think Tom Brady will be ready to go in that game. I think the Patriots D will also step up. I think they'll get some pressure on Russell Wilson. Yeah, he could elusively run, but I don't think Belichick's defense is going to eventually fall for that as much. I think they'll keep Russell Wilson contained. I like the Patriots.
Jake, I disagree. I have the Seattle Seahawks becoming a repeat the NFL champions, Super Bowl champions. I just think Russell Wilson will bounce back with the tough game against the Packers, and he will be a dominant performer against the Patriots defense, even though they are recognized as one of the best. And Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, I think they'll come back. I think they'll be fine because I know Richard Sherman who won't take no for an answer. Yeah. And Pete Carroll will have his boys ready for the February 1st game in Glendale at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, just like I mentioned.
Yeah, I think Richard Sherman, say what you want about him, best corner in the league. There's no doubt about it. He completely shut down the Packers' passing game, frankly, for the most part. Packers relied really heavily on Eddie Lacy at that point. It just wasn't enough. So that'll be something to keep in mind, too, is can LeGarrette Blount do anything against the Seahawks defense, and that'll be another key matchup to watch. But I still think the Patriots are going to win. But I think it'll be fairly handily. Like I said, I think they just don't match up well. I don't think the Seahawks match up well against the Patriots.
And thank you very much for your time. We will see you next